Any tourist can visit most countries in the Middle East: Egypt, Israel, Qatar. Dubai has indeed become one of the centers of the modern world, a kind of New York in the desert. This status has become a business card of the United Arab Emirates and now attracts tourists, businesses, technology, and finance. Everything needed to stay afloat when high energy prices no longer push forward. Saudi Arabia, on the other hand, has always been a rather closed and thus mysterious state. But time goes on, and it is impossible to hide from reality. So it's time to move forward. And part of this movement should be projects close to neighbors, entire cities that become new beacons in the desert. One of these beacons is expected to be Jeddah, a city located on the Red Sea coast. It is expected that with its maritime ports, business centers, and residential areas of various classes, Jeddah will become the largest economic hub on the Red Sea, as well as an important transportation hub between the oceans of Asia and the Mediterranean Sea. To the north lies the Suez Canal. And of course, any crown, especially one initially named Kingdom City, must be crowned with a precious gem. It was found swiftly in the form of the Kingdom Tower project, now known as the Jeddah Tower, the city's future jewel and the tallest skyscraper in the world. The idea of constructing a super tall skyscraper appeared almost simultaneously with the concept of creating a new economic center back in the late 2000s. Moreover, Kingdom Tower was supposed to decisively surpass the record set by Dubai's champion, Burj Khalifa, and reach an incredibly staggering height of about 1 mile or 1,600 meters. Therefore, the tower is sometimes referred to as the Mile-High Tower. However, the ambitions proved to be too expensive even for wealthy construction companies involved in the project. Several $billion were too much, especially given the global economic crisis. The idea of a mile was abandoned, reducing the approximate height to 1 kilometer. It's worth noting that the exact height remains a secret, and we will only know it when the building gets a spire. This adjustment is acceptable. Even with this reduction, the tower will still surpass its Dubai counterpart by approximately 180 meters. Preliminary work started in 2008 when soil studies began in the desert area north of the city. It was necessary to prove that this place could sustain such a huge structure. According to several sources, apart from financial constraints, it was the limitations of the ground that led to the reduction in the building's height. After numerous tenders and deliberations, the main architects of the project became Adrian Smith and Gordon Gill Architecture. Competing with many famous architectural firms, the company won due to their considerable experience in constructing similar structures. In their portfolio were skyscrapers, such as the Jinmao Tower in Shanghai, Xifeng Tower in Nanjing, Trump International Tower in Chicago, the famous eco-friendly Pearl River Tower in Guangzhou, and as the crowning achievement, the Burj Khalifa, which also was their creation. The contract for the construction of $1,230 million was signed with the contractors in 2011, and this amount was less than the amount spent on the construction of the Burj Khalifa by about $300 million. This is explained mainly due to the architect's significant advancements in this field and the comparatively cheaper labor costs compared to Dubai. In that same year 2011, the world saw the first images of the future building and learned about its height, about 1 kilometer. After completing all preparatory work, the actual construction of the skyscraper began in 2013. The first structures began to rise above the desert by the autumn of 2014, and this is what they envisioned. Constructing any skyscraper is a significant engineering challenge, and the taller it becomes, the more complex the tasks. In this context, the Jeddah Tower represents a record not only in height, but also in complexity. The question of the stability of such a huge building arises, its ability to withstand the impact of the wind. How to organize the transportation of people in such a building without entangling the entire structure with elevators, and at the same time, optimize transportation. No one would be pleased with the prospect of an hour-long journey from the upper floors to the entrance below. However, the elevator problem was solved during the construction of other skyscrapers that occupy top positions in terms of height. The best distribution of shafts, perfect logistics, double-deck elevator designs, and their number, about 60, essentially allow the limitations of efficiency to be overcome. One of the most complex challenges was the issue of excessive load on the concrete core, which essentially supports the entire building like a backbone. This problem was solved through a complicated yet evident method. The core increases in cross-section closer to the base. This increases the need for internal space, so the entire building also expands at the base. This solution, combined with surface structures, improves aerodynamics and reduces the impact of the wind on the building. It can be considered an alternative to a similar solution in the construction of the Burj Khalifa, where a stepped architecture was applied instead of a smooth change in cross-sectional area, making the skyscraper resemble a bunch of narrow towers. The influence of wind and counteracting sway are subjects of extensive research and development. Using advanced aerodynamic surface designs, rigid materials, sway suppression mechanisms, standard practices. However, it was found that at such great heights, classical constructions are still susceptible to swaying. Even ordinary tapered towers with spires do not solve the problem, not to mention classic rectangular structures. They would move like trees in the wind, posing challenges for the people inside. That's why buildings of considerable height transition into such intricate spires, which pierce the sky like knives. This is not only a stylish choice, but also a technical necessity. The foundations of the two Arab record holders are similar. 3 beams located on a massive concrete cushion. This cushion happens to be one of the largest in the world. The reason lies in the fact that under the sands of the coastline, there are relatively soft rock formations, capable of settling under the huge weight of the building. Therefore, a group of powerful piles was placed under them, supporting a foundation several meters thick and spanning several thousand square meters. It is similar in design to the foundation of the Burj Khalifa, which found itself in similar conditions. However, due to the building's greater mass, it is much larger. It is assumed that the Jeddah Tower will weigh about 900,000 tons. Inside the skyscraper will be full of both classic solutions for modern super tall buildings, including residential spaces, hotels, offices, leisure areas, and observation decks, as well as unconventional innovations. One of the most striking features will be a platform resembling a helipad externally. However, this platform, named the Sky Terrace, will have a diameter of about 30 meters, serving as a truly vast observation deck. Located above the 150th floor, it is expected to provide breathtaking views of the vast surrounding areas. In total, the Jeddah Tower is planned to have 167 floors. Essentially, the tower has a nearly self-sufficient structure, embodying the concept of a vertical city that modern architects are desperately trying to realize. A particular challenge was establishing infrastructure around the tower. It stands almost in the middle of the desert, not far from Jeddah. Approximately 23 hectares of land have been allocated for immediate adjacent developments. Within these areas, plans include constructing shopping centers, parks, residential and commercial properties, mainly of the luxury class. However, the hopeful narrative of the building and its prospects is clouded by numerous issues, ironically often not related to the complexity of constructing this superstructure. The work was delayed and proceeded under challenging conditions almost from the very beginning. A blow to the project came in 2017 when the leaders of the main construction participants were arrested. Kingdom Holdings Company and Saudi Bin Laden Group found themselves in a suspended state, which almost led to the project's collapse. The building's completion deadline was pushed to 2020. Although this deadline was also not realized. On September 13, 2023, a major news outlet in the Middle East, MEAD, reported the resumption of work on the Jeddah Tower. The developer Jeddah Economic Company announced a new tender to complete the construction of the tower, inviting large international construction companies from around the world. 3 months were allocated for the submission of bids. Perhaps technically very complex, ambitious projects will be implemented to the extent of the country's capabilities in a simpler form, because computer renders for investors do not always align with reality. And time goes on. While efforts are being made to resume work in Jeddah, their competitors on the other side of Saudi Arabia are striving for even greater heights. Write in the comments whether Saudi Arabia will be able to realize this ambitious project, or whether they will eventually abandon the project and never return to it again. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. Also, check out our previous videos. See you soon.